guys, it's Jess and welcome back to my channel. So today I'm gonna do another period video. You guys really seemed to like the last video that I did, which was my first period story where I told you all about my super awkward, embarrassing story of when I got my period for the first time, and I just kind of like told you the story of how I got it and how I told my parents and everything. So today's video is going to be more of like an advice type of video. So I thought I would do another video surrounding the same topic, but just give you guys some advice. So let's get started. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is how to kind of tell your parents or whoever you're closest to that you got your period, because it's very important to tell somebody who's older and who can teach you like what to do and get you all the proper stuff so that you're safe and everything's all good. I know it can be very embarrassing, and I know that personally because I was like so mortified to tell my mom, but when I did, it felt really good, because just like having that in the back of your mind, like, oh my god, like what's happening? My mom doesn't know that I have my period right now, and you know, once you tell her, then she can help you and it's all good. So my advice for you to kind of tell your parents and not be embarrassed about it is just to go in there and be like, hey, like this happened. Just know that obviously it happens to every single girl, so it's not a weird thing, it's not embarrassing, like it literally happens to everybody. So if it happens to you today and it doesn't happen to your best friend today, it's gonna happen to her in 2 months, 3 months, whatever, but it's still gonna happen to her and everybody's gonna go through it. So just like go in and tell your parents. Trust me, it'll make you feel a whole lot better. So now we're gonna talk about the difference between pads and tampons and what you should wear or what works better for different scenarios. Disclaimer, I'm not like a doctor, obviously, or like a professional period person. I'm just talking about my experience and what I know, because I've had my period for quite some time now. I first got my period when I was 11 years old, which is a really long time ago. I always used pads, and I started off using mini pads because I didn't have my period that heavy, but obviously it varies if you start off with like a heavier flow, gross, or if you are lighter like I was, then you can use mini pads. If you are heavier, then you can use like the Maxi Pads. Is that what they're called? I don't even know. But they're just like thicker and they absorb more, and they're probably your best bet, like just to make sure that you're all protected and everything is like in place. And then there are tampons, which is like, it's always been like a really scary thing for me. Even now, like I don't like wearing tampons. I just feel like it's not as comfortable. Tampons were something that I did have to wear because I always played sports throughout my whole entire life. So tampons are good if you are athletic and you play sports, if you swim, stuff like that. So how to use those things is not something that I'm going to try to like explain to you, because that's really hard. That's something for like your mom, your dad, your sister, somebody else. But just know that like it's probably going to be really uncomfortable, awkward in the beginning, but it gets better, and then it becomes just like second nature. Okay, and next we have the great cramps. Cramps are literally the worst. I know some girls who get their period and it's just like they're out for the count, and it kind of like disables them in a way. Like they get really bad cramps, they get headaches, and they just feel sick. And sometimes you'll just get like a little bit of cramps here and there, and sometimes you won't feel anything. When I was younger, I got cramps worse than I do now, and it was just like the worst feeling. You never wanted to, you know, go to school when you had cramps because you just felt sick and gross. Whenever I got my period, I would always have Midol ready in my purse or something so that I could take it if I was starting to like feel sick or whatever, and that always usually helps to make me feel better. Another tip is to drink a lot of water. That also will help. And then a random tip, just to always be prepared. Even if you're like on birth control, say, or you just know like exactly when you're gonna get your period, always keep pads, tampons, and like Midol like in your purse at all times, not just like when you have your period, because you never know, like you might have your period earlier or later or something, and you always want to be prepared because you don't want to be like that girl who is leaking through her pants. And then you have like when you get your period, how long do you have your period for? And again, that varies with every person. Basically everything like varies with each person. Everybody's different, but generally you usually get your period anywhere from like 3 to 5 days and maybe a week. That's like a really long time, and if you get it for a week, that really stinks, and I feel sorry for you. Now I get my period for like 3 days tops, which is amazing, but when I was younger I used to get it for like 4 or 5 days, and that's like normal, I guess. If you guys ever feel like you're having your period for too long, or you're skipping periods or anything like that, always be sure to go to the doctor and get checked out, because you never know. And like, don't look stuff up on the internet, because first time you look something up on the internet, you're automatically gonna think you're gonna die. The last subject that I want to touch on is how to tell your friends if this is like you just got your period for the first time. And I know that it can be like super awkward and stuff to talk about it with your friends, especially if they haven't gotten their periods yet. For me, and this is in my first period story, so I'll link it in the description below so you guys can go and watch that if you haven't already, but I got my period before a lot of my friends, and I was always just like so embarrassed, and I felt like I was like the weirdo who got her period first, and I just didn't want to like go through puberty or anything. So if you guys are like that, just know that like it's really not a big deal, and you should just be open with your friends. And if they ask you, like, don't lie, just say, yeah, I did, and you're gonna get yours too. So I think that's everything that I'm going to talk about today. I hope that was like kind of organized and not all over the place, but I just really wanted to sit down and talk to you guys about that, because like I said, a lot of you really liked my last video, so I thought that I would continue on and do this video. If you guys have any other like video requests, leave them in the comments below and I'll be sure to do them. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!